to be fair, the vast majority of things that I hear are fantastic. And when we do a post on Facebook, 95% of the things are wonderful. Which then puts me in a dangerous spot when I'm making a show about Jesus, where 95% of the content isn't from the Bible. So there is a group of people who won't watch the show because they don't believe that they'll use terms like you shouldn't add to the Bible.
I imagine that it is a huge undertaking. And you kind of just mentioned this when you're thinking, okay, you're not responsible for the millions of people watching this. But I still imagine as you are trying to create a series, The Chosen, that reflects the life of Christ, that is as biblically and historically, culturally accurate as possible, while still having to take creative license. For example, like Matthew, you depict him as someone who's on the spectrum. We don't see that in the Bible. And so how do you approach that huge task of trying to stay as accurate and grounded as possible while also being creative and creating a series that people really want to watch?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is I would say probably 95% of the content of the show isn't directly from Scripture. People call it a Bible show. They'll call it a Jesus show. And I'm okay with that, but I'll say this is actually, I mean, the Bible is for sure the primary source of truth and inspiration for the show, but there's a ton of content that isn't actually directly from Scripture. So to your question, it's a dangerous proposition. You know, you're walking a fine line, especially as someone like myself who loves the Bible, and I know that people who watch it, the majority of people who watch it, are going to be wanting us to remain faithful to the Scriptures as much as possible.
I want to say something very quick before I talk about this specific scene. We're doing 56 episodes of this show, and most of the content of this show is not directly from Scripture. I know that sounds horrible, but it's true. If you watched episode 1 of season 1, almost none of that is from Scripture. If you watch episode 2 of season 2, none of it is from Scripture. Episode 3, none of it from Scripture. Episode 4, most of it not from Scripture. Therefore, it is a guarantee that we are going to disagree sometimes. You are not always going to agree with everything that I decide in my portrayal of Christ or of the followers of Jesus. That is a fact.